Vladimir Putin is a man feared by the whole world, and his family is one of the most closely guarded secrets in Russia. But one day, something happened that changed everything. There is a man who was catastrophically unlucky that day. In just a few hours, he turned into the most miserable person in the country. But what did he do wrong? How exactly did he offend Putin's daughter? What happened to this man? And most importantly, where is he now? Watch this video till the end. The ending of this story will shock you. Let's begin. This is the story of a man who, because of his own foolishness and a fatal chain of events, lost everything. His name was Matvey Urin. At 30 years old, he was a successful banker at the peak of his career, owning 6 Russian banks. And then everything collapsed. On one beautiful Sunday evening in November 2010, Matvey was driving his luxurious Mercedes to a restaurant, accompanied by his personal security. But, on the road in front of his convoy, a modest BMW appeared. According to Urin, its driver showed him a lack of respect. He refused to give way, despite the persistent flashing lights. For a successful banker, this was unthinkable. How could someone refuse to let such an influential man pass? Urin ordered his security team, who were following behind him, to deal with the insolent driver. The guards reacted instantly. They blocked the BMW and forced it to stop. Several strong men with baseball bats approached the car and demanded that the driver get out. He refused. Then the guards smashed the driver's window and dragged him out by force. They beat him and shattered all the windows and mirrors on the car. After dealing with the driver, Urin and his security team calmly drove to the restaurant. The banker was very pleased with himself. He showed who was in charge. But that beaten driver turned out not to be an ordinary person, and very soon, Urin would find out and regret everything. Jorrit Farsen, a citizen of the Netherlands, born in 1980, an architect by education, from a simple family. At first glance, an ordinary man. But he had one connection that cost Urin everything. In the mid-2000s, he moved to Moscow, where he met Maria Vorontsova, the eldest daughter of the president of Russia, Vladimir Putin. Their marriage was kept secret for a long time, but an investigation by the New Times confirmed that Maria married Farsen and took his surname. And in 2012, she gave birth to their son, Putin's grandson. In Russia, the simple Dutch architect Jorrit quickly built a successful career. He took a high position at Gazprom Bank and later became the vice president of a Gazprom subsidiary, one of the largest oil and gas corporations in the world. And this very man, the son-in-law of the president of Russia, was beaten on a Moscow road. But what happened next? Farsen did not go to the police. He called his wife Maria and told her the license plate numbers of the attackers' cars. Just one phone call and Matvey Urin's life changed forever. An hour later, the banker's convoy was stopped. The operation was led by Vladimir Kolokoltsev, at that time the head of the Moscow police. Approaching Urin, he said, "Now you will remember for the rest of your life the man you beat 1 hour ago." The banker was shocked that the head of the Moscow police himself came to arrest him. By the way, for Kolokoltsev, just like for Matvey Urin, this moment became a turning point. A year later, he became the Minister of Internal Affairs of the country, and still holds that position today. Urin was sent to Lefortovo prison, known for its extremely strict regime. And that's when the nightmare began. Criminal cases started piling up, one after another. The first charge was hooliganism with the use of weapons, committed by a group of people. But by the time the case reached the court, several more charges had been added. Along with him, 5 of his bodyguards were also charged. Urin was declared the organizer of a criminal group. But this was only the beginning. The real nightmare was ahead. The court sentenced him to 3 years in prison. His bodyguards received sentences ranging from 2 to 4 years. But the worst part was this. Neither Urin nor his guards understood all this time that they had beaten Putin's son-in-law. They suspected that Farson was not an ordinary man and that he might be related to someone from the FSB. But they did not grasp the scale of their mistake, and when the truth came out, it was already too late. And this was not the end of the story. With the sentence he received, Urin could hope for early release in just a couple of years. That's not much for a man with money and connections. Under different circumstances, he could have paid his way out, made a deal, and walked free even earlier. But the prosecutor considered the sentence too soft, and the court accepted his appeal. After the case was reviewed, the term was increased to 4.5 years in a general regime prison. But if you think the story ended there, you're mistaken. Before his lawyers even had time to challenge the decision, Urin was hit with a new charge: large-scale fraud. All 6 of his banks had their licenses revoked. Investigators accused him of stealing 16 billion rubles, a number that takes your breath away. What's interesting is that just 1 month before these events, all the banks passed a routine inspection by the central bank, and no violations were found. What do you think? Were the schemes real, or could the case have been fabricated to increase his sentence? Write in the comments. The unfortunate banker kept repeating, "They're judging me because I was in the wrong place at the wrong time." But the judges were unyielding, and 3 more years were added to his prison term. Now he was expected to spend 7.5 years behind bars. He was transferred to Butyrka prison, one of the toughest in Russia. His luxurious life was replaced with prison bunks, where inmates slept in shifts. But even that wasn't the end of the punishment. The banker was hit with new charges and money laundering. Court hearings on this case were postponed 8 times. Urin spent almost 5 years in the pre-trial detention center, a record for Russia. The media even gave him a nickname: the man under investigation for life. While Urin was sitting in the detention center, his banking empire was collapsing like a house of cards. All the assets were sold off, and the debts grew. The 6 banks he had spent years building disappeared one after another. The final court ruling was 8.5 years, and on top of that, the prison administration issued him 29 disciplinary violations, ones he didn't even know about. This stripped him of the right to early release. It seemed Urin was doomed to spend many more years behind bars, but something unexpected happened. His dark streak ended in 2018. The State Duma passed a law stating that 1 day in a pre-trial detention center counts as 1.5 days in a prison facility. Urin's term was recalculated, and he was released. He was no longer a successful financier, but a completely ruined man. All he had left were debts from various court rulings. He spent just under 8 years behind bars. 8 years of his life for a roadside fight. Rumours said that after his release, he fled the country and started a new life abroad under a different name. But that wasn't true. After he was released, the court declared him bankrupt, and he was banned from leaving the country because of multi-billion ruble debts owed to thousands of affected depositors and legal entities. Urin Farson divorced Maria Putina after Western sanctions were introduced. He returned to the Netherlands, where he now lives away from the public eye. Their son stayed in Russia with his mother. Looking back, the story of Matvey Urin resembles a harsh lesson about arrogance and overconfidence. A man who thought money and connections made him untouchable lost everything in just 2 hours. A single phone call destroyed an empire. But here's something interesting. In 2013, a similar case happened. A wealthy man attacked someone on the street. That time, the victim was an ordinary citizen, and the case drew no attention at all. Urin later said, "It was just a coincidence. I was in the wrong place at the wrong time." This story is a reminder. It doesn't matter how much money you have. What matters is who you cross paths with. And what do you think? Was justice served? Or was it a show of force? Share your opinion in the comments. Give this video a like and share it if you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.